What's up guys, ATCZ here. Welcome back to Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck of the Day, and today we have a deck that I think is one of the most requested deck and one of the decks that everyone wants to see how it'll fold out during this format, and I'm talking about Heroes. Heroes are one of the most fun favorite decks ever, and Konami knows this, so recently they have printed so much hero support. We've got the Destiny hero support with the Fusion Destiny, we got the Vision hero support in Battles of Legends, and now we got the Evil hero support. But I was waiting before completing this deck and waiting to see the new cards that were going to get announced for the Legendary Duelist protagonists. But I think Judai's cards are a bit mediocre. I don't think they're worth playing in this deck, so this will probably be the final version of the deck until Konami prints more hero support in the future that is actually meta relevant. So this is the deck, and I'm including the evil heroes. I know that they're a bit expensive, but I don't think they're necessary for the deck, so if you can't afford the evil hero cards, I think you can still play without them. It just raises the ceiling of the deck. So let's begin. I've seen a lot of people play a small evil hero engine, but I've been testing with it, and I think just a bit larger one gives so much potential to the deck. So I'm starting with 2 Adjusted Gold. Adjusted Gold is an amazing card. You can discard it, search Dark Fusion, or a card that lists Dark Fusion, so you're always searching Dark Calling. I don't even run Dark Fusion. I don't think it's worth playing. You can also search the Supreme King's Castle, but this is only good if you're maining Super Poly, because it allows you to fuse with Super Poly. You can make any of your evil fusions, so you can use Malicious Bane and have it as a disruption with Super Poly, but I don't think that's worth playing either. So just 2 Dark Calling for the deck will be good enough. And the problem with this is that if you're playing 1-on-1, Dark Calling is a brick if you draw it by itself. Well, this is not the brick, so it's a 50-50 whether you draw the good or the bad card. And you can search it, but if your opponent starts disrupting your plays, then you won't be able to search it, and you won't have access to Malicious Bane, and Malicious Bane is a really good card. So you don't want to search this, you want to draw it. If you can search it, that means your opponent did not have that much to do in your turn, so you're probably going to win anyway. So that's why I decided to play 2 of this. And I'm also playing 1 Sinister Necrom and 1 Malicious Edge. I think the Necrom engine is really good because you can get Edge from the deck. It's 26 beater that can deal piercing, and that's why I run it. It's a 50-50 again on whether it's a brick or not, because 1 will go to the grave and give you Edge from the deck, and drawing Edge doesn't do that much. If you draw Edge, you still have Malicious Adjusted Gold to get with Sinister Necrom, so it's not completely dead. And Edge is not that bad to draw because it's a hero, it's an evil hero, so it's a really good fusion material. Now for the elemental heroes, 3 Stratos. This ban list did everything we needed to do, and except it didn't bring back Hero Lives, but I suggest you leave that card at 1, it's really broken. It doesn't need it anyway, the deck has all it needs right now, and 3 Stratos was not even the greatest improvement, but I'll come to that in a bit later. But again, 3 Stratos is the best normal summon of the deck. It gives you any hero. Not being once per turn means that you can recycle it from the grave and get more searches. It pops back row, so it's a deck that can inherently deal with back row decks, so you don't have to main deck back row removal. Really good card, amazing. And I played 2 Shadow Mist. Shadow Mist is also a good normal summon because of a certain card I run in the extra deck, but she's not as important as Stratos because it's a card that you don't want to normal summon. You want to send it from your hand to the grave with Faris, or from your deck to the grave with Vion, so you can get a search. Or if you send her to the grave, you cannot use her effect and then bring her back with Solid Soldier to get to your Mask Chains. That's usually the play you want to go when you're going first, so you can have a Dark Law during your opponent's turn, and against some matchups, Dark Law is really enough to win you the game. 1 Solid Soldier, I don't think you need more than 1. It's pretty searchable with so many ways, and its effect is not that relevant. It's only good when you're going first and you're trying to do the Shadow Mist play I just mentioned. And 1 Honest Neos, because you can search it to protect your monsters either going first to make sure they don't die by battle, or going second to push your OTK even further. For the Destiny heroes, this is what makes the deck so much better. Thank you, Konami. 3 Malicious. I never expected this card to come back at 3, to be honest. Not as long as Isolde is on the game, but I guess with Bardis and Summon Sork banned, Konami felt this card would be okay at 3 again. So this is actually what pushes the deck over the top, because now we have more extenders. Even if if you got Nibiru, then you didn't have much follow-up, but now you can leave one Malicious in the grave, and even if you get Nibiru, then you will still be able to summon a Dark Hero, so you can use your Max Change during your opponent's turn to have Dark Law control the board. So that's still pretty good. It gives the deck more playability against control decks, because when they start hitting you with all the negates, you can keep hitting them back with all your extenders, and it also gives you an extra target for your Destiny Fusion. So that's why I've cut Celestial from the deck, because I don't think it's worth running anymore. It was not a good card at all, but it was just a target. But I'm still running Dynatag because it boosts your Dystopia, so you can use its effect. You can actually use Dystopia's effect 3 times. You can use it with Dread Decimator, you can use it with Dynatag, and you can use it with Honest Neos, so that's really good. You have a lot of popping. And as also, this card's first effect has actually won me games because it's searchable, and when your opponent's life points are at 1,000 or less, even if you've lost control of the game, if they don't have a way to negate this when they attack, or if they don't see it coming, then this could give you a cheesy win. Because when you're going to take battle damage, you discard this, you take no damage, and both players take 1,000 life. So you can win games with that. And Plasma, I've seen people not run Plasma. I completely disagree. I think Plasma is completely broken against some decks. If you can protect it with Dread Decimator or Honest Neos, because Plasma's only weakness that it has 1900 attack, it's a skill drain for your opponent, and it's really good going second as well for breaking boards. Sometimes you want hard draw this against boards. It's the only way to win against Thunder Dragons, because Colossus hurts this deck, but not if you have Plasma. You can just drop it on the field and all the Thunder Dragons will be negated, and you can just equip Colossus or Titan onto him, and he will become bigger than all the Thunder Dragons. For the Vision Heroes, play 3 Faris. Amazing for the deck. It gave the deck an extender, which it completely needed, because once you got your normal summon, if it got stopped, the deck could not do much. But Faris now gives you a follow-up play. And I'm playing just 1 Increase. Most are playing 2, but I feel like Increase the same way I feel about Darling Tonya Cobra or Lazuli. If you're playing 3 of the good card and 1 of the bad card, and it's not as bricky as Cobra and Lazuli for these other engines, because it's a hero, so you can fuse it away or link with it, and then when you take damage, it comes back from the grave to a spell and trap zone, so it's not like it's completely dead if you draw it. It makes Faris dead for the first turn, yes, but if you can still summon Faris as another hero on the field, you don't have to send a Vision Hero from your deck to a spell trap zone or to be able to summon Faris. So you can discard Shadow Mist or Malicious if you happen to draw Increase 2, so I don't think you need to run more than 1, because it's actually brick, so if you run more than 1, you can end up bricking even more. And 2 Vion, just to be able to use Vion, to be able to use Increase twice, get Vion from the deck. It's not a bad card to draw, because it's a really good normal summon if you don't have Stratos, so I think 2 is okay. And I am main decking 3 Nibiru, and I'm completely against main decking 3 Nibiru in any deck. But not in this one specifically, because Nibiru is a rock monster, and this gives synergy with the deck in a way I'll explain later when I get to the extra deck, and that's why even if Nibiru is dead, it still has a use, and this is the only way I think of Nibiru being a good card to max out in the main deck in a format that has not been defined yet, and you could run into a lot of control decks, so you might have a lot of bricks. Now for the spells, 3 Fusion Destiny. This card is an amazing starter. It also can be an extender if you don't want to start with it, because it locks you into Dark Heroes, so you won't be able to do some plays, but it's still a really good card. It fuses Destiny Heroes from the deck. You can use them from your hand as well, so if you happen to draw 1 Malicious, you don't have to send the second copy from the deck. You can send the one you have in your hand, so you can still have 2 Malicious in your deck, and gives you a Destiny Hero from your extra deck. Usually you're going for Dystopia early game. Late game, if you have 1 more Destiny Hero in your deck, you can use the 1 Destiny Hero you have and Shadow Mist to get your Dangerous, and Shadow Mist will give you a search, so it's not like 1 copy is only alive in the deck. You can actually use 2 throughout the game, so that's why this is an amazing card. 1 hero lives, still at 1, no problem. The card is amazing, but you don't need to see it to win. It's a really good card, but you always side it out game 3 if you're getting close to time, because paying half means that you're losing into time. 3 Call, because you need to search your Stratos, it searches your Shadow Mist if you don't have it and you want to discard it with your Faris, it searches your Solid Soldier if you want to do the play with bringing back Shadow Mist from the grave to get your Mask Chains. 1 Rhoda, and 1 Foolish, because it's the same as Rhoda, but it can also search your Faris, it can also search your Plasma, because you send your Shadow Mist to the grave and you get to search whatever hero you want. It doesn't contradict with anything in the deck. It's just a very good card. For the fusion spells, play 1 Poly, because you can start it with Vion. I don't think you need to run more than 1. Possibly 2 could be good if you're playing against decks that prevent you from searching, then you can just hard draw it and do your plays, but I still think you need to have more monsters in your hand as spells in order for this deck to work, so I think 1. And of course I say that because I run 2 Dark Calling, so I already play a lot of spells, but since I have 2 Adjusted Golds, I think I need to play 2 Dark Calling because Adjusted Gold is a great top deck. If you got into the grind game and you need to see something good, playing a second poly would not be that good because Vian doesn't do anything on its own, but Adjusted Gold does everything on its own because you just fuse from your grave and you can get into your second Malicious Bane or another evil hero and completely turn the tables on your opponent. And 3 Mask Change, because this prevents your opponent from targeting your dark heroes. I don't run any of the other attributes. Blast could be an option, but I don't have that much space in the extra deck. The way I'm playing the hero deck, usually you have, but with the evil hero engine you don't. So that's why I think running only 2 targets is good enough. And usually your opponent doesn't even want to negate Stratos because he could be a bait, so they're waiting for the more important cards to hit the field. But still, this card can push for game, it can be a defensive play turn 1, it's a really good card. For the extra deck, 2 Bane. Bane is an amazing card. It's a complete blowout during the late game, during the early game. You can use it for your OTK, you can use it to your comeback ability with your Adjusted Gold when you go to the top deck. It needs a level 5 or higher monster and an evil hero, so it's really easy to summon with Faris. The guy who made Faris level 5 was really far ahead because he saw that this would come out. So it's really powerful. It blows up your opponent's monsters with attack equal to or less than it. It gains 200 attack for each. And it also can be destroyed by battle or card effects, so even if you summon it turn 1, some decks cannot deal with it that easily. It's a really resilient monster. 1 Dark Gaia. The reason I was talking about that's why Nibiru is a good card in the deck, even if it doesn't have a complete use against your opponent's certain deck, but it's a rock monster, so this needs a rock and a fiend, so you can have it reach a lot of attack because it gets the combined original attack of both materials, and when it attacks, it switches all opponent's monsters to attack mode. So if they have a board full of negates and you've gone through your negates, but you cannot do damage because your opponent has everything in defense mode, then you can just switch them all to attack mode when you attack, and if you have this in a Trinity, that's pretty much game, so that's why I think this card is really good. And I play 1 more evil hero, 1 malicious fiend. You cannot summon this turn 1, which kind of sucks because it needs malicious edge. If it needed an evil hero, it would be busted, because I have this in order to combine with plasma, and if you have this with plasma, then that's pretty much a complete lockdown because Plasma's weakness, like I said, is having only 1900 attack, but this card redirects all attacks on it, and it's 35, so you're going to protect Plasma this way, and Plasma will protect everything from your opponent's card effects. So that's a good combo if you can pull it off during the late game. Now for the Destiny Heroes, play 1 Dystopia. Again, the turn 1 Fusion Destiny. Sometimes you need to go into Dangerous turn 1 because you need to send Shadow Mist. That's only if you have very awkward hand and you don't have anything good and you only have Fusion Destiny. But this card is really important because you can bring it back a lot of times during the late game with your Croc Crusader, so you can keep popping cards. And it also, you can use Dread Decimator's effect to boost it. Dangerous, mainly because of its materials, because it can send Shadow Mist, so you can get a search, and its effect is completely irrelevant. 1 Trinity, because 3 heroes is very easy for the deck, and it's the OTK machine. With Honest Neos, it's 75 that can attack 3 times on monsters, so that's pretty easy to OTK. 1 Adoration, because it's a generic monster that requires 2 any heroes, so you can summon it, and you usually want it for the play with Solid Soldier. You fuse away Solid Soldier from the field, and then you bring back Shadow Mist from the grave, or you can bring Stratos from the grave and get more effects. And it also has an effect to weaken opponent's monsters. For the Masked Heroes, 1 Darklo. I don't think you need more than 1. It's usually a turn 1 play, and after that you can easily OTK without it, but it's still a very important card. And 1 Anki, because some hands need to push through with a lot of mask changes in order to be able to OTK, because your opponent might have a lot of monsters on the field, so you need to add more cards that will get you to more monsters so you can OTK. And if your opponent has a board that you cannot break through and you're getting into time, Anki can attack directly with half its attack points, so you can get a win with that. For the links, 2 Cross Crusader brings back all your Destiny heroes from the grave. You can tribute a Destiny hero to add any hero, very good card. It needs 2 any warrior monsters, so you usually go for 2 heroes. It's really good early game, it's really good late game. It's an amazing card overall. 1 card that I think it's kind of mediocre, but I still think you need to run it is Wonder Driver, because it can reset your 1 poly, or it can reset your mask change, so that's sometimes you need to have it, so just having access to it is, I think, is important. But the problem with this card is that it's a light, so if you start with Fusion Destiny, then you cannot summon it. And 1 Dread Decimator, I wish this card gave piercing to all the monsters to point to, but I will get what I have. So it has piercing just itself, and it gives itself and all the heroes it points to 100 attack for each hero in the grave with different names. So it's a good card to push for game, and it also triggers Dystopia's effect. And the last monster is one Almiraz. I'm playing Almiraz because it turns Shadow Mist into a starter. Almiraz needs a normal summon monster with 1,000 or less attack, and that's what Shadow Mist is. So if you just summon Shadow Mist and link her away, you can get any search, and also you can clear your Almiraz from the extra monster zone with this effect because you contribute it and protect any monster you want from card destruction this turn. So you can just get it off the field and then proceed with your plays exactly how you want. So usually you'll search Faris with your Shadow Mist and do your classic play. So I think it's really good to have one because it gives more consistency to the deck in a way. So yep, that's the deck. It's a deck I really enjoy playing. It's a deck that I want to see top. It did have one top previous format. The deck got a lot of power now, and some other decks lost some power, so I think it's really good for the deck. Sky Strikers were one of its hardest matchups, so I think it's really good that they're out of the way now, so you can see more heroes top, and I really hope that the deck thrives in this format. So, yep, thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.